last 5 years. So I understand a lot of people that have a lot of respect for you, and I welcome you to the city and hope to get together soon.
by legendary strategist, media strategist, Antoine Seawright. And so we know we got a lot going on today, but we want to hear from you. And those of you who are dealing, as we are celebrating Black History Month, as we are closing in on the month as they named it to be Black History Month and what it means to you. I know that we just lost Reverend Jesse Jackson in the flesh, and I know that people are saying, wow, we got a lot of our leaders, have passed on. A lot of our leaders, we can no longer speak to, we can no longer hear from. A lot of leaders in this struggle, but there's a lot of leaders that are still here and that are still on the move and still involved in the action. That leader, if you look in the mirror, hey, you might identify someone that you're familiar with who also is a leader and who is capable, if you make that commitment to do amazing things, to do and make great impacts. We can start within ourselves. We can start by looking at that man in the mirror, as Reverend Sharpton always says, and we can make that change and make that commitment ourselves to say, listen, I'm going to step up. I'm going to be one who will make that commitment to stand for equality, to stand for justice, to stand against all that is happening to us, all that is happening around the world. We're going to speak up. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to take action and continue to take action. It's Hot Button Issues Monday. Y'all can join in on the conversation today. Reverend Sharpton will be joining us momentarily, and Antoine Seawright, but you can join us today by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Got a lot to talk about and want to get into, of course, talking about your president, Donald Trump, warning trade partners that he could hit them with much higher tariffs following the Supreme Court's ruling last week, striking down some of the U.S. duties. Want to talk about that. Want to talk about this demanding of Netflix to fire Susan Rice from the board after she said that corporations take a knee to him. A lot of people have been talking about that. We want to talk about that in this Hot Button Issues Monday and so many other things that are happening around us and happening to us. Certainly we want to, of course, raise the alarm, and we want to keep it real, as we know the Reverend tells us to do on a daily basis. So why don't you join us on this Hot Button Issues Monday, 1-877-532-5797. I believe we're going to take a break. You're listening to Keeping It Real with Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. We're snowed in. It's a storm happening across the country, across the tri-state area at least. But, hey, we got to keep it hot. Keep it hot on this Hot Button Issues Monday. Hey, Reverend Al.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing, Dominique? I know both of us are in the city where snow is still falling there. They are predicting up to 2 feet, but they have just lifted the ban so people can drive. So I couldn't get to the studio, so I couldn't do it live stream, but I'm doing it working out of the study at the house. So let me take my break. Thank you for starting us off. I'll be right back after the break.
Right.
It is Hot Button Monday. Al Sharpton, I won't be snowed out. I won't be slowed down. Hot Button Monday. Give me your calls. A lot happened over the weekend. I want to hear from you. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just break. I believe that
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and everyone at the National Action Network for 35 years of standing up for civil rights and opportunity for everyone.
And I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine.
As we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned, people marched. Let us remember now, as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac, that they can see the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one memorial that never served as president, but changed this country more than any other American, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This was an amazing MLK breakfast.
It is truly an honor, and more importantly, this is an important day for us.
I feel incredibly lucky and honored to be in this room on this day, celebrating Dr. King's legacy of civil rights, especially in the moment that we're facing on a national level. It feels like warmth and home being in this room.
So I'm encouraged by today. I'm encouraged that we're getting out, we're protesting, but more needs to be done. We need to lean in.
And let's keep fighting, because the job is not done here. And I just feel so honored to get this award. It's not about getting an award, it's about doing the work. And let's keep up with the work.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton for the month of February, Black History Month. The Saturday Action Rally will be at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox and 7th Avenues from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. We're glad as we transition into our new headquarters. Our 4 Saturdays of Black History Month, we'll be doing those rallies at Mother AME Zion. Stand on historic ground, holy ground, where Frederick Douglass spoke, where Madam C.J. Walker was funeralized, where Sojourner Truth had a Underground Railroad come through. I'm so excited about being there as it prepares us to move on to our new headquarters. Let's go back and stand on the rock that our people stood on for decades. Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI, we supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational National Action Network convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the Black church, how we deal with Black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And people thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass Black march, Black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the Black called Black Organization March, they welcomed everybody. We had white, Black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning, because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this bill. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C., two cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York paper for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attended convention last year in 2025. It needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it, but I can't give you details. We're just about ready to sign the contract, but it will be something that will last longer than many of our lifetimes. So we came alive in 25, despite a hostile administration, despite the fact that a lot of people were intimidated and spooked into silence. We came alive in 25. Now we have to straighten out tricks in 26. I need you, we need each other. Let's do this. All these tricks, don't forget, Trump only won by 1.5%. He is trying to act.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797 this Monday morning. Snowy in the Northeast, and snow is beginning to lighten up, and they're beginning to open up streets. But I said that's why I have a study at the house, so I'm going to work anyhow. Don't take days off that I can find a way to be with us, particularly at the serious level of, I think, disarray that this country is in. Tomorrow night, President Trump is giving his first State of the Union address since starting his second term. And he does it at a time where just Friday, the Supreme Court rejected his saying that a president can just put tariffs on countries at his whim or at his will. He came back viciously attacking the court, saying their families ought to be ashamed of them, including two of the justices that he nominated to the court. The man has no ability to absorb any kind of critique, any kind of criticism. You start calling them names. One of the things that's going to be very interesting is usually the Supreme Court justices attend the State of the Union address. It'll be interesting to see if the ones he attacked come and whether he tries to say something to them while he's shaking hands. I mean, this is the most unpredictable, juvenile behaving president, I think, in American history. But aside from the drama and the theater of tomorrow, there are serious issues at stake. One, the tariffs. Now he is saying that he's going to put a 15% tariff across the board. Well, that will cause inflation for American citizens. Any number of studies have shown that the tariffs has been 90% paid for by consumers in this country because they just raised the prices to offset the tariffs. Secondly, the Affordable Care Act, which is still in limbo. I had over the weekend on Politics Nation several members of Congress and Senate where I said to them, where is the common ground? Is there common ground? People's premiums, Congressman Mfume was on last night, people's premiums are going up as we speak, and they're not even discussing this as a news item, which in and of itself is disgusting. And what are you dealing with in terms of defunding ICE, and finding another way to protect the border, but also protect people's civil and human rights, which has been absolutely unequivocally violated by this administration and how DHS, Department of Homeland Security, has handled things. So a lot I'm going to be looking for tomorrow night for Trump to address as, let's say, as low expectations as I can have. I'm still going to give him the opportunity to prove me wrong. All of this looms as you see polling is going against him. He has the worst polling numbers that we've seen in his presidency either time. His base is turning on him. And at the same time, the midterm elections are a few months away. Early voting for primaries have started in some states. Everybody should vote. Everybody should not drop out. This is the time to drop in. I tell people that's frustrated with where we are and where the process is, that's exactly why you should have voted last year. We wouldn't have been at this place. And by not voting this year, we'll only prolong the misery and the pain that Americans are going to have to suffer because of your negligence and ignorance. That's all it is, ignorance. And I think that we definitely have to call it like we see it. So let's talk about all these issues this Hot Button Monday and maybe issues I did not raise. Let me thank all of you that watched Politics Nation over the weekend. I had on King Jeffries, the minority leader of the House, was on. I had Jesse Jackson Jr., who talks about his father and talked about, in fact, I had Jesse Jackson Jr. on the television show right after Hakeem. Talked about his father, his character, talked about all of our relationships down through the years. I had the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota. I had members of the Congress both nights. I don't waste your time when I ask you to watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. So we're going to take a break, and when I come back, I'm going to the phones, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Keeping it real. 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 Keeping it real.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-2458. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-2458. That's 800-617-2458. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
TV1's Fatal Attraction podcast is back with an all-new season. If you've ever been intrigued by the complex and sometimes unsettling aspects of love, this season is for you. We will explore love triangles, betrayal, financial turmoil, and gripping mysteries that will keep you on the edge of your seat. For anyone passionate about true crime and looking for suspense, the Fatal Attraction podcast is an absolute must-listen. To listen, go to urban1podcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Vote to phone Troy.
He was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist.
Okay, wow.
Jack O'Dell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Just us.
Just us.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am somebody. Beautiful. Crime. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. We thank for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Sharpton is here. We thank
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there. And act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that. Keep it real.
Keep it real. Keep it real. I'm the host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back taking your calls at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. And we're taking your calls. Hot Button Monday. And let me say, by way of announcements, don't forget every Saturday and Sunday, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. And as I said, we had really good guests this weekend, and I try to get them every weekend because I don't want to waste your time. I want you to hear from those in the room and in position to give us power, as well as those commentaries that are necessary to be heard. And among we had Hakeem Jeffries on, the minority leader of the House. This is the second time he was on this month. And because he knows our viewers need to hear what he has to say, we had Congressman Kwesi Mfume talking about the tariffs. We had Secretary of State of Minnesota. We had a candidate that is running against Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat. And we have Jesse Jackson Jr., former congressman who's running again now for Congress, talk about his dad as we all are going through a series of memorials starting this weekend. They will start the viewing of Reverend Jackson in Chicago and then going to South Carolina, Washington, and back the end of next week in Chicago for the funeral services. So watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. And let me say the Saturday Action Rally was off the chain. We are for Black History Month at Mother AME Zion in Harlem, the historic church of Frederick Douglass, Paul Robeson, and Sojourner Truth. And it was full on Saturday as we did the memorial to Reverend Jackson. And the Mayor Zoran Mondani came and spoke. State Attorney General Tish James was there and spoke. Many of our elected officials and clergymen came. Reverend Jackson was an intricate part of the development of black and brown people's political power in New York, and they showed up, and the audience showed up. The people showed up in big numbers. He deserves that all over the country, and I was glad about it. Let me also say that sign up for the National Action Network's convention. It will be the 8th of April to the 11th, and it's free, all of our sessions. And I have not put out the names. I was going to put them out over the weekend, but with all of what Reverend Jackson and other things superseding, I decided to wait. I'm not giving the names yet of who's doing the workshops, but I can promise you, anybody that's ever been to a National Action Network convention knows we don't mess around. We get the top brains, people in the top offices, come to our convention to address our issues, our needs. People who want to run for president, everybody, Lottie, Dottie, and everybody ought to be there. If you have not registered, we have a couple of, I think about 300 seats left before I do the cutoff, because I'm cutting off at 5,000 because we have to save seats for our HBCU students we're bringing in from the tour as well as our chapters. So if you're not registered for 1 day, 2 days, all 4 days, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and register now. Or you can call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. All right, let's start going to the phones this Hot Button Monday. Let me start. This is going to be a good week. I'm starting in Chicago with my dear friend, the one and only Miss Eunice in Chicago, the beloved Miss Eunice. How you doing, Miss Eunice?
I'm doing well, Reverend. How are you?
Doing very well.
Good. I'm doing great after the great sermon given by Reverend Senator Warnock yesterday. He was at our Church for Black History.
Oh, great.
Yes. And let me start by saying I'm praying for the Jackson family. And thank you, Mrs. Jacqueline Jackson, for holding it down. And, Reverend, as I sit and reflect on Reverend Jackson's work, I shed tears of hope and joy for children born and yet unborn. Reverend Jackson, I say, take your rest job well done. And we can keep hope alive by supporting his son, Yusef Jackson, a new COO push. And we need the organization. Numbers count. And I hope everyone takes that under consideration. And finally, Reverend, to think we have a man, number 47, holding office is a name only, and what a liar he is. 34 felons and implicated in so many underhanded things. And let me move on, let somebody else talk. And thank you for taking my call.
What is interesting before you go, Miss Eunice, is interesting because you mentioned his felonies and all, his name all over the Epstein stuff. And this week was going to be a very interesting week that we should not get distracted from. Hear his State of Union address tomorrow night. And then on Thursday and Friday, former President Clinton and former Secretary of State and former First Lady Hillary Clinton have to go before the Senate committee to testify. So there's going to be a lot of nonsense thrown around this week, and we need to be alert and on top of it.
And I'm waiting with bated breath because he should have been under jurisdiction long time ago. Over and over again, he gets away. I'm wondering how much will the Senate tolerate. They're sitting there, Johnson especially. This man, I don't know what's going on. He doesn't have a soul. And thank you, Reverend, for taking my call.
All right. God bless. Always good to hear your voice. Let's go to Cleveland, Ohio, to Demetrius. Demetrius, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. I don't hear Demetrius.
Yes, it's me, Doctor. I'm the Reverend Sharpton. Yeah, I got cut off somehow. Oh yeah, I just want to speak. I think the United States should pay attention. Donald Trump sending the warships close to Iran, because I believe it's a dangerous situation. Because Russia also sent their warship to Iran, and it could escalate if the United States do bomb any part of Iran. And I don't believe Donald Trump should use the military to try to bully Iran to sign the treaty. And like I said before in the past, it would be devastating, for the world and also for the United States if they try to overthrow the government. It's up to the people to overthrow the government. Also, what's happening in Mexico, over the weekend.
Yeah, with the cartel.
Yes, with the cartel. I can understand. They want to, curtail, the illegal drug cartels in Mexico, but they shouldn't do it because they feel threatened by the United States, threatened by Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump's goal is to have a administration in Mexico that's friendly to him, to his aims. They're attacking the cartels is not going to sway Donald Trump. That's just one obstacle he feels that's out the way, because he used the same rhetoric with Venezuela. He said it was drugs. He wouldn't invade Venezuela, but he still wanted to take over the government. So those countries have to realize, this is no appeasement, because the aim is, I believe, is to control the industry, that oil or any other minerals can get out of those countries. They shouldn't be bullied. Also, I'm glad the Supreme Court made a ruling concerning terrorists, because the terrorists shouldn't be used as a weapon to punish countries who don't go along with what Trump administration want. And also, it's outside the legal qualification of a president, because he don't have the right to do that in the first place. So he should be curtailed. And also, when it comes to the elections, he wanted to nationalize the elections. And also, I believe when it comes to re-election time, even for himself, after the 4-year term is over, there will be problems. He will try to stay in office.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he didn't challenge the Constitution. I'd be surprised if he didn't. But I think people are mobilizing now. Even if you look at their polling numbers, independent voters have gone all the way away from him, and some Republicans have gone all the way away from him. But I think in the litany of situations you named, every one of them is important, and every one of them were expected by those of us that warned people what would happen if Trump got back in office. And he's been in there now just a little over a year, and look where we are with the inflation. Affordability is not going up. Unemployment among blacks is still almost double that to whites. We are still on the brink of a war with Iran. He has snatched the president of Venezuela. And not to mention ICE making these deportation moves, killing 2 innocent people in Minneapolis, ICE killing them in this whole move to deport people. And I haven't even got to the top of the list, my list, what he's done to our community. ending DEI, ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, and we've had to fight with some companies to keep them in line. We're going to deal with that at our convention. Some have said publicly, no, I'm not doing it. I'm standing up to Trump. I'm not ending DEI. And some have not, which is why we privately bought some stock. 2 or 3 companies got wind we were coming, so we got a strategy so we don't buy them in bulk. But we cannot keep shopping, spending our dollars with people that do not reciprocate with giving contracts to our businesses, jobs to our people, training programs for those that need the technical skills. We have got to start using our dollar in our self-interest. So I think with all that you ran down, Demetrius, in the context of where we are, we have no choice but to fight.
I agree. Yeah, we don't have a choice because the main aim is to roll the clock back to a time, when those in power maintain power, and the power we have as people and as a working class, as Americans, it is to unite. We have to be careful the way we spend our dollars. We have to use our political clout as well, and we have to come together economically, also as people who have the same values. Because this country's at stake. So, because they really trying to move to a one-man government or one.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
We fought for our rights in this country. As African Americans, as American citizens, we're not going to give up our constitutional rights. Black people been in slavery. We suffered under that. We're not going to suffer under no dictator. We want our rights.
That's right.
Unite our rights.
All right. Thank you for your call, and we'll take a break. I'll be right back. More of you on the phone. It's Hot Button Monday, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. Be right back.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting you. Now here's the news from News1.com.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what we need to know. J.P. Morgan Chase confirmed in court filings that it closed more than 50 of President Trump's personal and business accounts back in 2021. The mass terminations hit everything from his private banking relationship to accounts for his hotels and housing developments. While the bank's letter simply told him to find a more suitable institution, the president's lawsuit argued the move was a coordinated effort to distance the bank from him following the events of January 6. If you've got travel plans, you might want to check with the airlines or at least check your app. The blizzard hitting the Northeast has already caused a nightmare at the nation's airports. Airlines have canceled over
that I want to end. He talked about the dry bones in the valley.
I'll tell you that.
The only reason that the wind could blow life into the bones is because at some point they had to be connected. If the wind had blown into a disconnected body, it still wouldn't have worked. So before he prophesied to the wind, they had to first get the foot bone to connect to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone to the calf bone, and to the knee bone, and the knee bone to the thigh bone. If we are to prophesy to the wind, we must first connect this body. We must connect Eddie Long to Farrakhan and Cornel West to Elders and Lowry to Sharpton. If we can connect this body, then God will blow the breath of life into our community. But as long as we are disconnected, the wind can't blow because it's blowing on disconnected dry bones. But the good news is that we're the children of people that have been through worse than this, and we're still here. So even though I get despondent, I don't ever get depressed, because I want the world to know you won't beat us, because we're the children of those that took the worst form of slavery and brutality that ever lived, that ever existed. Our parents survived the Middle Passage. Only the strong got here, and then we lost our name, our culture, our religion, and we're still here. But you don't know who we are are. We're the children of Chaka Zulu. We're the children of Mary McLeod Bethune. We're the children of Marcus Garvey. We're the children of Martin Luther King. We'll be here. We were first and we'll be last. We know who we are.
A young man who refers to the Reverend Jesse Jackson as his mentor, but who has been the mentor to so many people, a man who himself ran for President of the United States and who on a regular basis on MSNBC stands up for economic and social and racial justice, for saving the environment and for peace on this planet. Please welcome the remarkable Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Some of the ministers, even though I was a young minister, seemed like they were not connected to what was going on in the urban North. Jesse Jackson came from the South, but organized in Chicago and knew how to organize in urban centers. There would not have been a continuation of that movement had Jesse Jackson not bridged that gap and started fighting for collective economics at that time. Way before we started talking about corporate accountability, he was boycotting Fortune 500 companies, dealing with the economic policy, dealing with the exploitation of the poor. He became a national figure holding corporate America accountable. What people are doing now was started by Jesse Louis Jackson. But directly as they start the Democratic Convention on tomorrow, let me just talk about his historic reshaping of the party. In 1983, he started saying a black should run for president. There was in 1972 the Gary, Indiana Convention, National Black Political Convention. There was the fights between the black nationalists and those that were in elective office. Reverend tried to bridge that. It led all the way to 83. He went around the country trying to get certain blacks to run. In the middle of him doing that, he started a Southern voting crusade. As he was on the bus going through Mississippi, through Louisiana, registering voters, people started saying, "You should run, Jesse." And we started to chant, "Run, Jesse, run." Most of the black elected officials didn't see it. He ran anyway. And he ran and won many of those primaries, and he put us on the agenda saying our time has come. But he did something that shifted the party and shifted history. And that is when he ran in 88. Not only did he win more delegates and win more states, he changed the rules of the party. This is what I come to say tonight. When Jesse Jackson from the 88 campaign changed the party from winner take all to proportional representation, let's not forget, before 88, if you got one vote more than your opponent in a primary, you got all of the delegates. Jesse Jackson changed the rules to where it didn't matter if you got more or not, you still got your share of delegates based on the vote you got. You cannot have a Democratic Party without democracy. There is no winner take all in democracy. By changing the rules in 88, we also got the first black chairman of the party, Ron Brown,
who was a campaign manager for Jesse Jackson. He put blacks on the rules committee that kept those rules in place. So in '08, if there had not been proportional voting in the primaries, Hillary Clinton would have been the nominee. The reason Barack Obama could win the primaries and win the nomination is because the Rules Committee went on the Jackson proportional voting rules. As we come into 24, when Joe Biden decided not to run, and there were those that said, let's have an open convention. There were people on the Rules Committee, when Joe Manchin said he was thinking about running, they said, well, no, you can't run, because the rules won't let you run. Those people on the Rules Committee were put there by Jesse Louis Jackson. The reason Kamala Harris is going to be nominated starts right in this building, starts right with this man. It has been a long journey, but the one that brought us this far was Jesse Louis Jackson. It's a remarkable career to be born in the Deep South, in the back of the bus, and to grow into being a world figure that literally changed the political structures as we knew it. Put two of his sons in Congress. Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr., who's a constitutional scholar. Jonathan Jackson now reshaped the civil rights movement. What we're doing now with civil rights organizations, we learned at his feet. Let me end by saying there's some people that say that it's sad Reverend Jackson from Parkinson's can't walk like he used to and talk like he used to. But I want you to know that every time a black opens their mouth and talk about democracy, Jesse Jackson is talking. Every time Sharpton, and we're back. It's Hot Button Monday. Whatever is on your mind, whatever's in your heart, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, and I am in New York, snowed in but not snowed out of you. I'm doing a show from my study at the apartment. I want to, particularly with what is going to happen over the next few days this week, is of major significance. President's State of the Union address, the depositions by former President Clinton and First Lady Clinton, a lot going on, and we need to be on top of it. The Congress still wrestling with a deadline. So let's go through all of it. I'm joined as I am every Monday to kick off the week and works with us on Monday, the political strategist, Antoine Seawright. Antoine.
Oh, it's cold in New York, but it's hot in America, Reverend. Now it's good to be with you. I'm glad you're safe, more importantly, and to the people who are trapped into the storm, please remain safe and please follow all local guides and instructions wherever you may be.
That's for sure. Forecast for me, your views, and then that of the Democrats on tomorrow night's State of the Union address. I know that there will be the official response by Spanberger from Virginia, and I know that there's a counter rally while it's going on. Senator Jeff Berkeley was on Politics Nation with me last night. There'll be a counter rally while the inauguration is going on. But what is the general tone you're hearing around Washington about the State of the Union, and what, if anything, do you expect that we may hear addressed that we haven't heard him address before?
Well, Red, let me deal with one thing you said into your intro about the Clinton political theater that we know will take place. It's ironic that the Republican majority scheduled the hearing the same week as the president's State of the Union address, and that's not on accident. But I'll just say that the State of our Union, of course, is upside down. The president is underwater on every single major issue you can think of, particularly kitchen table issues. He's upside down on the issues that he actually campaigned on, the economy and certainly immigration. And so look for him to spread tons of disinformation, misinformation, lies is what we call it in most places. Also look for him to try and put into the bloodstream a ton of right-wing, red meat, racial rhetoric to some degree, but also just right-wing rhetoric that will feed the Trump base because his approval numbers are lowest or as low as they have been in any time in office for him or for any president in modern history. I mentioned that his poll numbers are upside down, and quite frankly, every constituency that he actually won over, both in 2016 and in 2024, he's losing ground with. And now we're starting to see the trickle-down effect of that inside the Congress. People know he's moving closer to lame duck, so they do not fear him for the most part in the United States Congress, both on the House side and the Senate side. As it relates to my party, I think you're going to look for a very powdered keg approach tomorrow night in terms of response. You'll have the official response from Governor Spanberger, a national security mom from the Commonwealth of Virginia, first woman to be elected governor, served this country, was a frontliner while she was in the Congress, had one of the most historic victories in the state of Virginia history, a 15-point victory, ran on an affordability agenda. And so I think that is I think that you'll see that from her, and then you'll see some other responses from others tomorrow night that will speak to the needs, concerns, fears, and hopes, aspirations of the American people.
There's early voting already started in some states. What are the states we need to be looking at as early voting started and as primaries start in some states as early as March? Antoine? Did I lose Antoine?
Rev, your phone went out. I'm sorry, what'd you say? Or my phone went out. Somebody's phone went out.
Yeah, somebody's phone went out. But I said that early voting has already started in some states for the Democratic primaries, and what some primaries are going to occur as early as March. Which primary states are you looking at with what keen interest is there for certain states in terms of statewide offices of Congress or whatever, and what do you foresee happening?
Well, the two big ones that I'm paying attention to, Texas, because of course, the intense Democratic Senate primary race that they are experiencing in Texas. The two front runners, of course, Jasmine Crockett and James Tallarico. It's going to be a very heated race. Of course, we need to be united in that regard. The polls are saying one thing, the on-the-ground feel is another. People are going to decide the elections. There will be a big surge in black and brown turnout if tradition allows itself to overlay as it has in other elections. The other one is the North Carolina primary. Valerie Foushee, CBC member, has been contested by a Justice Democrat recruit of Bernie Sanders. Of course, the CBC and Senator Sanders do not have the best relationship when it comes to these primaries, and so we'll see how that shakes out. There was similar tone and temperature in the New Jersey 11 race a few weeks ago, in which the Justice Democrats prevailed, and so that's going to be a race that many people are watching to see what happens, because it could tilt some sort of the balance in the Congress in terms of what the potential majority could look like. And so those are the two that I'm paying extra close attention to. But regardless of how either one of those races shake out, or even some of the others, I think the most important thing that Democrats need to know is that we have to be united after these primaries are over. It can't be us versus them, because that's the only way we're going to beat back on the MAGA agenda, defeat Project 2025, and begin the necessary steps to take our country back.
Now, when you mentioned the whole question of of making sure that we unite afterward, and that we're that close, very close, I should say, to taking the majority of the House. How many seats are the Republicans up now, and how many are necessary to win back the majority and presumably make Hakeem Jeffries the Speaker?
Well, you need 218 in order to be in the majority in the United States Congress. Democrats have 214, so there's a 3-4 seat majority. But of course, the way Johnson is going and the way the American people are responding, he cannot keep his caucus together. Some of his quote unquote swing district members or frontline members, what we call on our side, they have been teetering against his agenda and the extreme agenda coming out of this White House. That's why you saw the petition released in order to get a vote on the ACA subsidies. That's why you saw the bipartisan effort on the Epstein files, and that's why you see many of the issues that they're pushing with this MAGA extremist agenda is being rejected by the majority in the Congress. And when I say majority, I mean the 214 Democrats, plus a few of the Republicans in swing districts like Mike Lawler and others, because they are trying to figure out survival in this environment in which Republican numbers are upside down, the president's numbers are upside down. There's nothing in or on or around their agenda that speaks to the concerns of the American people. And quite frankly, they've hoodwinked a number of people in the last election saying they were going to deal with affordability and all these other things, when quite frankly we saw that the tariffs, which is a large part of the MAGAnomic agenda, has been a failure. Costs are up, everything is up, and the president's upside down. So are the numbers as relates to the Republican majority in Washington, D.C.
Hello?
I'm here, Rep.
All right. I think that you summed up well. I think the other thing that we've got to be very cognizant of is that I'll put it this way. If we get the majority in the House and Hakeem Jeffries becomes the Speaker, that also means that the chair of each of the major committees will be Democrats. We have then subpoena power, gavel power. It would really, in effect, if the House turns Democrat, it would, in effect, that day make Donald Trump a lame duck president. So a lot of people that wait for presidential years to run out and vote, this is a presidential election year. Because if the Democrats win the House, and certainly if they win both House and Senate, he's checkmated for the next 2 years, which is why he's going to do everything he can, lie, cheat, and steal, to try to keep the Republicans in power. We have fought more difficult battles than this. We've faced more dangerous battles than this. We should not get wolf-ticketed out of this fight. We need to be on the ground, ready to fight. Let's take a break, and we'll come back. I'm going to the phones right after the break, I promise. Sharpton, Antoine Searad, be right back.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting you. Now here's the news from News1.com.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what we need to know. Looking ahead to 2028, the political landscape is already shifting. California Governor Gavin Newsom told CNN's State of the Union that he will soon decide with his family whether to launch a presidential bid. When asked about a potential primary matchup against Kamala Harris, Newsom noted the fate will decide. His rising profile and frequent verbal sparring with President Trump made him a top name to watch as the Democratic Party looks toward the future. In Florida, a security breach at Mar-a-Lago turned deadly. The FBI is investigating after Secret Service agents shot and killed an armed intruder at the resort early Sunday morning. The suspect was identified as 21-year-old Austin Tucker Martin of North Carolina. He was reported missing by his family just a day earlier. Agents say Martin entered the secure perimeter with a shotgun and a gas can. President Trump was not at the property during the incident and no officers were injured. NASA's Artemis II mission is facing another setback. The first human moon mission in over 50 years was scheduled for March 6, but an interruption in helium flow was discovered overnight. NASA boss Jared Isaacman said the rocket will likely have to be moved off the launch pad and back to the assembly building for repairs. It's a disappointing delay for a mission meant to test the life support systems that will eventually return Americans to the lunar surface. Tragic news from the NFL. Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Rondale Moore died at the age of 25 over the weekend. Reports indicate the young star died Saturday in Indiana from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Moore was a standout talent who also played for the Cardinals and the Falcons. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybylWilkes.com. For all the news 24/7, go to newsone.com. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2025, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-259-4546. That's 800-259-4546. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-259-4546 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
2026 is here, and we are officially in primary season. Make sure your voice is heard. Get registered in your state today, because you cannot vote unless you're registered. If you need information on how, when, and where to vote, visit your local Board of Elections website and get prepared. Not happy with the current state of affairs? Vote in your upcoming primary and make a difference. Urban One thanks you for registering and for voting. For more information, visit onevote2026.com. Sponsored by Urban One.
Evidence that I take, you will be there. Evidence that I make, we'll be together. Evidence that I take, you will be there. Evidence that I make, we'll be together. Evidence that I take.
Whew. Thank you so much. I was thinking I was going to prepare a speech, but I can't read those things anymore. Name's Babyface, not Baby Body. But I wanted to, you made me sound so good with those words. I was like, that was me? I was like, when I look at my life and I think of the music and everything that I've done, I used to say that I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the words come from. I don't know where the music comes from. I don't know how I got here where I am, but that's not true. God got me here. This is and it becomes more clear to me every day that's why I'm here. And I don't even know how I ended up standing here, except for the fact that I ran into Al at the Essence. He was walking in the room, and I said, I got to go say hello. And he said, I want to honor you. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, I want to honor you. I said, really? Yep. And here I am standing here, and I can well, thank you. I always want to do this, Michael. I love you too. Sorry. But I think of moments like this, I can't help but just think of how proud my mom would be for me to stand here. I have to say that just to be standing here and to be invited by Al Sharpton, and I want you guys to really think about this man who invited me here and how he has been fighting the fight for us all of these years. I don't think we give him enough credit. I don't think we give him enough love. Sometimes you just get used to people and you think, well, that's just Al. No. He's more than that. I want y'all to give him really love. Come on, let's give him. It's very true. Because I can remember times, I'm 67 years old. I can remember times in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, it's true, I'm 67. And I can remember times in Indianapolis when I was growing up, and there were places before I was 5 years old that I could not go to because I was black. And I remember how civil rights, how that changed everything for me and for my life, and that I'm standing here today because of all of those changes, and I was able to do the kind of music that I do and do everything because of those things happened. And so for me to accept an award like this, because I've never gotten an award like this before, and so I really appreciate it, and I'm just so thankful, and I thank my mom for giving me the sense to always be humble with my life and to never think that it's all about me. So like I said, I didn't prepare a speech. I always just wanted to speak from my heart. And I'm speaking from my heart, and I want to tell you once again, Al Sharpton, you are a blessing to us all, and I thank you for inviting me for this, and thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Antoine Seawright is our co-host. Let's go right to the phones, Antoine. Let's go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD to Disco Brian. Disco Brian, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Seawright.
It is once again an immense honor to be here, gentlemen. Last Monday, I was listening back before I called in today, last night, in preparation. I wanted to mention that Pam from Chicago made a really excellent point that when it comes to who she would trust to go on to certain right-wing shows and still represent our values clearly, her list was very short. It included you, Rev, and you, Antoine Seawright, and I agree 100% with her. She also called out Gavin Newsom's podcast approach and how easily, especially in its early incarnation, it slipped into friendliness with people who don't deserve soft treatment. Newsom opened his podcast with 3 guests, Charlie Kirk, Michael Savage, and Steve Bannon. And the pattern kept going. In his first 20 interviews, gentlemen, I just researched this, almost all were white men, and none of the hard right conversations were meaningfully adversarial. And that's why Thankfully, his recent interview with Congressman Jim Clyburn of South Carolina stood out because it's magnificent. Newsom actually listened to an elder black statesman who, like you, Rev, is an encyclopedia of the civil rights movement, and did what far too few white Democratic men in leadership do. He actually listened and soaked up wisdom, which was beautiful. And while that interview is a promising sign, I'm still praying that Newsom is held to account by you, Rev, and all of your MS Now colleagues for those initial cringeworthy interviews on his podcast with mostly white, mostly male figures like Bannon Kirk, and yes, a 2-episode interview with Newt Gingrich, all of which were very friendly.
Now, do you think the strategy there, do you think was for him to say that he is willing to broaden his base if he runs for president? He's not intimidated by them. We're reaching out to independent voters, that he's not just a far left California Hollywood political figure. I mean, what do you think would be the strategy for doing this?
Rev, I would love you to ask him that, because I'm just I don't know, but the thing that bothers me most about it is that I've never heard anyone ask him about it. So I would love for you to do that and someone else, because again, it's not just that it was those 3 or the first, I don't know, 7 or 8 of his 20 interviews were with the far right. It's that they were he was very gentle and very kind. So again, that's for people who have.
I didn't hear. What do you think is the political strategy around this, if there is one in your mind, Antoine? I mean, you're the political strategist. I don't hear Antoine.
I think the strategy is pretty simple, Rev. I think we just part of it is that I think we're making a lot of this too complicated. And Disco, you may or may not agree with this. I think we just got to stick to the basics here. The environment and the atmosphere is calling for us to be very basic. And part of being basic is honing in to our individual constituencies as Democrats, but also understanding that there are people who are hungry and thirsty to be up under our tent. They may not want to identify with the Democratic Party or Democratic figures, but they identify with the issues we care about. And I think that's where we've got to make some adjustments on our part, if that makes sense.
I love that. Rev, Antoine, if I could ask one more question. I have a question for you, Rev, and one for you, Anton. George Orwell said that it takes a constant struggle to see what is in front of one's face. But the clarity that you two gentlemen bring to this program makes that feel untrue, because you neither of you seem to struggle to name what's right in front of us. And again, last Monday, Rev, you said a lot of the progressives talk for us, at us, and not to us, and that too many leftists care only about class, not race. I'd like to add one more piece, Rev. Too many public figures seem more interested in making friends with the hosts than holding the host accountable. And they look conflict avoidant, like they're afraid to speak plainly, and doing so might upset the host and get them kicked out of the cool kids club, like politics is a popularity contest instead of a vehicle for justice. And I'm wondering, Rev, if you agree with that. And Antoine, when I asked what could be gained last week from pro-democracy voices going on to far-right podcasts and shows, your answer was perfect as usual. You said you'll go anywhere onto any show as long as you're treated with respect. But Rogan's show has spent over a decade functioning as a launch pad for ugliness, platforming anti-vax conspiracies, transphobia, Holocaust deniers, and repeatedly treating Elon Musk, who has mainstreamed anti-Semitic and racist rhetoric, as a kind of genius strategist. It's also a show where the guest mix is overwhelmingly right-wing, and where Rogan's political fire is almost exclusively directed at black and female Democrats. So going back to your standard, Antoine, respect. my question is this. Given that record, is there any way for a justice and democracy advocate to go on to that show or any of the ones that it has spawned in good faith without legitimizing it? And if yes, what are the minimum conditions that would have to be met? What would respect look like in practice? Thank you, gentlemen.
Well, let me say the question that you raised to me. I think that clearly we must have a pronounced, announced agenda to the voters, to people on what we are about, and be unequivocal about that. But at the same time, can reach out to all people as long as we're not compromising what we stand for. And I think that there is a significant body of voters in this country that are independent, that's neither on the Democratic side or the Republican side. And I think that you can stand up for what attracts them or that parallels their political beliefs, but at the same time don't turn them off by appearing elitist or rude or too unnecessarily confrontational. So I think it's how you thread the needle, Disco. Go ahead, Antoine.
Well, I would just add to that, because I think that is a very colorful way of painting the picture, is that more and more people are becoming pro-value and anti-institution. That has always been the case with black folks, if you look back at our history from the time we came to this country until now. But I think more and more people are starting to grasp that belief and that concept about being pro-value and anti-institution. And that's why I declare that we have to speak loudly and proudly about our value set and own those things. We have always owned freedom. We've always owned the Christian faith, and somehow or another we've let them grab the microphone, those issues. We've got to take those issues back and remind folks those were our value sets, particularly as black Americans from the very beginning, and so we've got to own those again and take pride in that.
All right, let's take a break. Thank you, Disco Brian. We're going to take our break. We'll be right back. It's Hot Button Monday, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. See right. Be right back.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid.
Went to the highfalutin Ivy League schools. But it meant something to me on welfare, watching mama scrub floors, for somebody to tell me I was somebody. You may not have needed that, but I needed that. And then all through my life, seeing him open doors. When you see me talking about Brittany Griner, it's because I learned how he went and got Robert Goodman, different situation. But it taught us that we could deal with global issues. We're not local Negroes. We're global thinkers that can talk to heads of state. And before we go up there, I didn't know he was coming, but we got to hear some words while y'all watching on Impact Television from our leader, our mentor, the one who picked up the mantle when they shot Dr. King down. It dropped in his hands. He's been leading ever since. Let us hear some words from the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. Come on, y'all can do better than that.
SeaWorld and Sesame Place, but they're doing our children. They want to focus on how much money we're going to get to deal for them, how many positions of power we're going to get. And there's a black on the board who owns 40% of the stock in the company there. The lawyer is a guy who was on the legal defense fund, a brilliant lawyer. So the blacks, minorities now are 60% of the company. It's about changing the circumstances in which we live. I want to express my thanks to you, Al, for being a part of that negotiation, being part of that process. We said this one action that we're in the South doing a lot of voter registration right now. Texas, 675,000 blacks unregistered, and 1.7 Latinos unregistered. In Arkansas, 380,000 blacks unregistered. So Latinos about 410,000 unregistered. In Georgia, 535,000. Well, my point is that people should be registered to vote. It's part of this situation. So I should be a registered voter because I'm an American. The registration should be automatic. You shouldn't have to pay a poll tax to register to vote. You have to go from in the country in Little Rock, you got to go 30 miles to register to vote. And that's today did not, that office, they're mobile. You have to go back home and go back another day. We must fight for the right of registration, which is American citizenship. Talk to me, somebody. As the Trump was trying to restrict votes, we're going to expand it. You're age 18, you get drafted for the military, pay FICA taxes, automatically, right? We're going to fight for people to have the automatic right to vote. That's actually, y'all support that proposition?
Yes, sir.
Automatic registration.
Yes, sir.
Automatic registration. Now, in other words, you take the pain out. Not as a person off and tell the story. My grandma was not going to vote for me. If she didn't love me, grandma couldn't read and write. Never seen the light. And when she did in the mail, Mom and I had to take her downtown kicking, register for her son to vote. She got through asking questions, which she didn't know what to do, and make an X and walk away. He had dropped down. She couldn't read or had to make an X. It's about people have to make X's. Cleveland, Ohio today is 51%, 52% African American, 61% of them are illiterate. 25% never finished high school. So many of our people are behind on reading, writing, and counting. You hear me now? So Al, we want to start a movement around the country, everywhere we go, fighting for automatic voter registration. And what it means is that if you put that many blacks on the books, you have politics toward that. You have maybe 700,000 Latinos on the votes in Texas, and 700,000 blacks. You got to campaign for who registered to vote. Right now you campaign for who's registered, who got the money. See, if we're fully registered and fully vote, we have the power. If you go in Georgia, 2 senators, Mississippi is 45% African American. Plus Latinos, blacks are 51% of that state. A handful of progressive whites. We can become governor of Mississippi. 2 U.S. citizens of Mississippi. We have the power to change Mississippi for the better. Same as the South is where slave ships landed. That's where most of our people are still there in great numbers. Relationships between white and black is closer in New York and in South and places else. I want to thank you for allowing me to say something today. I really want to act for you. So I am. I'm a citizen. I'm a citizen. Right to vote. I'm a citizenship. Okay.
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Singing like you mean it. Singing like you.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Antoine Seawright is our co-host on Hot Button Monday. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart. Let's go to Germany and talk with Rick. Rick in Germany, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Seawright.
Good day, Brother Sharpton, and good day, Mr. Antoine Seawright. I got two quick points. The first point involves three men. Reverend Jesse L. Jackson. I never believed, Steve Coakley, that Jesse was an agent involved in the assassination plot against Martin Luther King. I think Reverend Jesse Jackson was an interesting man and a man worthy of multiple biographies. Also, I would like to say that Reverend Graylin Scott Hagler, known around Baltimore and D.C., also passed around the same time as Reverend Jesse Jackson, and he is a man worthy of looking into. Third, Robert Duvall, the actor. I believe he was a versatile actor, and I recall him for the film The Great Santini, a film Donald Trump might want to sit down and watch. And second, I would like to say to your audience, Reverend Sharpton, as people prepare to go out and shovel their snow and consider the science of global warming, that the rich, too rich people in particular, but the rich are directing your attention towards the moon and Mars, when the truth is they're strongly involved in controlling food on this planet. Fellas, I'm done.
All right, thank you for your call. Let me just say this as you go, Rick. As one that grew up literally since I was 12 in the movement, I remember when Steve Koch and others were touring the country making these statements about Reverend Jackson. I did not believe it then. It made no sense. There was no evidence. But then the same thing happened with a lot of people came out and said that various people were in cahoots with killing Malcolm. When we went after the mob and tried to get the feds to do things there, they said I was an FBI informant, which if I was trying to get the mob busted, I thought you get a medal for that, not condemned. Well, what I'm saying is that the price you pay for high profile is that you're going to have to bear all kinds of theories, some that people believe and some that people fabricate, but that just goes with the territory. And I thought it was unfortunate, but I thought Reverend Jackson showed a lot of strength by not playing into it. Let's go to Elder in Cincinnati, Ohio, the Buzz. Elder.
How you doing this afternoon, Brother Al?
I'm doing fine.
How are you today? Good, good. I was considering all that you're saying, and I'm constantly looking into the scriptures, which I know is the truth. And do you feel the spirit of the time that our people are becoming stand out all over the earth, especially in the Holy Land, Africa? Because what I'm saying is...
do I feel that what?
Do you feel the vibe that the truth is coming out about what the real history of us are and who the white colonists did? We know now what they've been doing to deceive us for many centuries. So we know now that the only Elohim of power that we should be serving is that of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Doesn't it behoove us to turn away from the idols that they gave us and brought us up backward in and brainwashed us and turn back to the true and living Elohim? Therefore, that means disjoin from their politics and do the politics of the truth now, because we know again who we are. And
well, I
really,
think that to withdraw from politics would make us vulnerable to whatever they decide to do with political power. So whatever we believe, we live in a world that functions by laws. And you can believe the truth, I can believe the truth all we want. But we're going to have to deal with how the schools function for our children, how taxes are going to be paid from us. If we don't pay them, you can be believing all you want in a jail cell for tax evasion. What you paying money for to buy your food, whether you're on the righteous diet or an unrighteous diet. To withdraw from politics, to me, is
so here's what I mean, Brother Al. Here's what I mean. I mean to deal with the real
what you
politics.
meant. I was answering you, sir. I was answering what you raised.
Please. I'm talking about turning to the laws of the Creator. That's politics. That has all that you need to do to start a nation, build it, and so forth. We got to turn back to who we were and not depend on this Caucasian enemy that's over us. Most High said, don't practice the ways of the heathen and none of their ways. We got to turn away from them and give the real leadership in the world. And I think it's time.
And the only way you're going to be able to do that is you're going to have to engage in political and economic struggle. You can turn to the Creator, and the Creator is, in my opinion, gives us the strength and the wisdom to fight and conquer demonic forces. You cannot just turn and act like everything's going to turn with us. God requires something of us.
That's right. It requires us depending on Him with all our might and our soul, the true and living
that's
God.
why you can fight with all your heart and soul. Because if you really depend on Him, wait a minute. No. We're not going to go through this whole segment.
Okay. Right.
That if you really depend on Him, you'll stand up and fight for a righteous cause. If you say, I'm just going to look to Him, like God is your butler and going to come in and deliver your liberation, then you really are saying you don't believe in Him because you don't fight. Everybody in the scriptures, no matter what scriptures you believe, the advancement was made by warriors that would fight, not theological and philosophical punks that try to make excuses for not fighting. But thank you for your call. Let's go to Lola in Philadelphia, WURD, the word. Lola, you're keeping it. Lola hung up. Let's go to Al in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Al, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and C-Rack.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. And would you all please send my weather back here? Because this 30-degree weather is too warm for me.
Yeah, well, I'd love that if I had it, but I'm in New York, which is below, it's around 30, but it's all this snow. I think the snow is beginning to stop. So I tell you what, I'll take some of your hot weather if you get it. If you take some of this snow, because I don't know how we're gonna get that down the street tonight, but we're gonna try.
I'll take all that snow because I'm a cold weather brother. But anyway, what is it that we need to do to get that fool out of office? I'm assuming that with the midterm elections, that if the House becomes major Democrat and or the Senate or both, that they can, they can vote to impeach him. But does that mean that he has to leave office? If not,
well, I'll let Antoine break that down because there's a process there. Antoine.
I'm sorry, your call is going in and out, Rep, so I didn't get the clarity on the question.
He said that what do we need to do? He said, what do we need to do to get Trump out? He knows if the Democrats get the majority of the House, that they can impeach him, but will that get him out of office?
Well, it won't get him out of office, but because we have to win both the House and the Senate for impeachment. But what it would do, if we get the majority in the House, it would cut his legislative abilities in half. And even if we close the gap in the Senate, they will be rightly, even heavily dependent on Democratic votes to get anything done. And it forces him to have to negotiate an agenda with the Democratic majority. If you see Trump's behavior to this point, he has not included Democrats in any of the negotiations on major issues, from the government shutdown to health care and so forth. He's essentially pressed the ignore button for the, by and large, since he's been president this time. What a win will do, it will force him to have Democrats at the table if he wants to attempt to get anything done. Now, what we do know about this president, he's going to do everything he can to use the power of the bully pulpit or his executive power and push the envelope. You see what he's doing on tariffs right now. After the Supreme Court ruled, he still says, I'm going to hike up tariffs and I'm going to do whatever I have to do, because basically I don't have to answer to anyone as president. And that's why it's so important to have a sense of accountability from the legislative branch, by which the Constitution outlines that the legislative branch provides oversight on the executive branch, and the executive branch includes the cabinet officials in this administration.
All right, but let me say this. He's already violated the law several times since he's been in office. That's not enough for them to be able to impeach him and put him out of office?
Well, you didn't. I don't know if I spoke directly to your question, but let me reiterate.
Okay,
let me reiterate what I'm saying again. We can't impeach the president until we have both the House and the Senate. And if we don't have the House and the Senate, we've seen what happens when the House does impeachment and the Senate does not. And so we have to have both bodies in order to impeach the president.
Got to take my break. Thank you for your call out. Let's take our break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head, or shut out of boardrooms like Byron, so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf, because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
For all, and one that would make him so proud. May you rest in peace.
Thank you. Let us now welcome the Dan Chain.
Listening live on W.M. Jackson ran. I was saying back in the office in the back to some of us gathering that I remember in 1972, a black woman from Brooklyn ran for president of the United States. Her name was Shirley Chisholm. And I remember riding around with Miss C and Ada Smith and Victor Robles, and I wasn't even old enough to vote yet. I was 17 going on 18. And when I turned 18, it was the first year they let 18-year-olds vote. And they said this one was crazy thing about running for president. But she ran unbought and unbossed. And 10, 20 years later, from 72 to 84, Reverend Jackson ran. And they said that was ridiculous. And then 20 years after that, Barack Obama became president. The struggle is not an overnight win. The struggle goes to those that keep fighting, that look at defeat and say, I'm gonna keep on anyhow. And we come in the name of Jesse Louis Jackson to say that if you hold on, your change will come.
Will come. Will come. Your change. Your change is gonna come. Just keep the fight. Your change. Your change. I know it will. Will come. Your change. Your change is gonna come. Change will. Change will come. Change will come. Change will come.
Several years ago, 5 young men were put in jail for something they didn't do, coerced into a confession. One of their mothers called me and said my son didn't do it. We went down and stood with them. Wasn't many of us. Some of us didn't even get along, but we agreed on that. Bill Perkins, Lambe Brath, all us down there marched for those boys. People castigated us. But we stood by those boys. There was a businessman in New York, never opened his mouth about Howard Beach. When Michael Griffith was killed in Howard Beach, which was the next neighborhood to Jamaica Estates where this businessman grew up, never opened his mouth. Never said nothing about Yusef Hawkins in Bensonhurst, where they threw eggs at us and watermelons. Man stabbed me one Saturday morning leading the march. They never said a word. But he took ads out in the newspaper saying, bring back the death penalty to execute these 5 young men. But every Saturday morning I walk out in the Saturday rally and I look at the front row and seen them young men have been exonerated. 2 of them here this morning. Know that even when it looks dark, raise your hand, Kari Weiss, Yusef Salaam. If you hold on, if you hold out, that's right. The race isn't given to the swift, nor to the strong, but to those that can endure to the end. Hold on, your change will come. National Action Network Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning. for the Saturday Action Rally, and for you that are here live at Mother AME Zion Church, and for you that are listening live on WBLS 107.5 in New York, you that are watching us on Impact Television worldwide, and you that are watching on nationalactionnetwork.net or on YouTube/NAN. We're happy to be with you another Saturday to give our report on where the action is. And this week is a special memory, I don't like to say memorial, for our patron saint, the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. Last time Reverend Jackson spoke in New York, he spoke at NAN. One Saturday morning, some of you were there. We had to help him on the stage. And it is appropriate that we do this memorial today. We're going to hear from some that have their view, and I'm certainly grateful for you that have already spoken, our public advocate, Jemani Williams, and our city council president, Julie Menon, and our congressman, Espiat, and many have already spoken, our controller, Mark Levine, and I'm going to get in trouble so I don't call somebody's name. Jordan Wright, I got to call Jordan's name. I got to live here. But let me also say that I met Reverend Jackson in 1968. My mother brought me to Bishop Washington, and he was my pastor. She was upset that I was enticed with watching the news, Adam Clayton Powell, and she wanted Bishop Washington to tell me, as I was a boy preacher in Washington Temple, to stay out of the world politics, Bishop Taylor. And Bishop Washington said at that time, on President Street in Brooklyn, 2 blocks, all the big preachers lived. And we in Bishop Washington's house, he said, I know what to do. He took us across the street and knocked on Bill Jones' door, Reverend William Augustus Jones. And Reverend Jones opened the door and he said, Bill, I want you to help me out. This is Sharpton. He said, yeah, I know the boy preacher. He said, yeah. He said, his mama's here and she worried he gonna leave the church. And Bill Jones said, I know what to do with him. We'll make him our youth director. The young folks will follow him. And they made me youth director. And his daughter now is the vice chairman of our board. Stand up. Jennifer Jones Austin. And one of the social scientists of our times is Jenny Jones Austin. Nobody knows wealth gap and inequality better. And that about a month later, of ICE killing those 2 people, on and on and on. And that's what we do every weekend. So you don't want to miss any episode of Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live again at 5 p.m. Eastern on MS Now. Saturdays, every Saturdays, particularly during Black History Month, Saturday Action Rally, we're at the historic Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem every Saturday morning, 9 to 11. We're doing our Saturday Action Rallies there as we transition into our new headquarters. And this past Saturday, we did it as a memorial to Reverend Jesse Jackson and everyone from New York City Mayor Zoran Mondani to State Attorney General Tish James to members of Congress, etc. They joined us. Every Saturday, we do something around what's going on in the community now and deal with an analysis of it from a historic point of view. And I'll be there this Saturday as I was last Saturday looking for you. If you're in the tri-state area, come and be with us. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. House of Justice is convening at Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox Avenue and 7th Avenue in the village of Harlem. If you're not in New York, you can watch it live on Impact Television
or on nationalactionnetwork.net or on YouTube/NAN, all live. We got thousands tuning in on Saturday. We can see the numbers. We also are telling you, talking about thousands, several thousand have already signed up for National Action Network's convention, April 8th through the 11th. All sessions are free, and many of our high-profile and our highly intelligent people are guiding our workshops, dealing with plenary sessions. You want to be there. If you've ever been to a National Action Network convention, you know it is unlike any other. So sign up now. I've not released all the panelists and speakers, but I was going to do it probably over the weekend, but then because of we wanted to get focus on Reverend Jackson's legacy, I'll do it later. But sign up now. I can come one day. I can come 2 days. I want to be there all 4. I have people come from all over the country already on the list. We are also bringing in our young people from the HBCU tour that Reverend Cassius Rudolph has done for NAN. I've done a couple of my stuff. They're not in the 40. Well, it was 4,000, about 500 change when I came on. I don't know what it is now. But please sign up. Antoine, explain to our audience when President Trump says that he attacks in very bitter ways members of the Supreme Court and their decision on tariffs. Explain what the tariffs mean and why it is such a setback for the president.
Well, tariffs are the centerpiece of his economic agenda. When they were railing about making America affordable again, somehow or another they think that tariffs does not mean tax, something we learned in basic government in elementary school, for those of us who have our elementary school graduation certificates. And so what this right-wing activist court, who normally does not get it right, but they got it right in the sense that Congress controls the purse and that all budgetary items, including taxes, starts in the House. And so they went back to precedent by way of the Constitution and followed the rule of law. And anytime, I don't care who you are or who you think you are to the president, anytime you do not do what he wants you to do, 2 things happen. He attacks you, and then he tries to override you. So he's attacked this right-wing activist court, throwing out all kinds of foolish bombs in order, hoping that they would land with the American people to get his way, to pave way for the Congress to enact his right-wing, extreme, out-of-touch agenda. The second thing he's doing is when he does not get his way, he's ignoring. He's ignoring the rule of law. He's ignoring precedent by way when the court rules, and he's going on to put further tariffs, I think raise them to 15% in some cases, and then bragging on social media that the Supreme Court or anyone pretty much does not have the right to rein him in as the chief executive officer of the United States of America. So that ought to show you kind of where he is and how he's all about country first, because any leader who's country first will follow the rules that are in place in a country. Reverend Al?
And as far as, he made some very personal attacks on 2 of the members of the Supreme Court that he nominated. And it just shows how narrow-minded and self-indulgent he is. He's going to nominate someone to be a member of the Supreme Court, a justice, a lifetime appointment, but all of a sudden they make a decision contrary to his wishes, and now they ain't nothing, and their family ought to be ashamed of him. I mean, to have someone that petty and thin-skinned in the White House, I think is a national threat. But let's go back to the phone.
Leopards don't change their spots, and zebras do not change their stripes. When Donald Trump appoints you to anything or nominates you for anything, the first pledge you make is pledge your allegiance to him, not an agenda, not the rule of law, but to him. And so he's showing that. The second part, I don't think people realize, when he attacks elected officials and appointed officials like judges and members of Congress, what it does, it puts their life and their families' livelihood in jeopardy. And so now you're going to get people attack. All kinds of things are going to happen, likely as a direct result of him calling these judges out for not doing what he wants them to do. We also saw that with member of Congress like Ilhan Omar and others that he has attacked.
No, I've been through that 3 or 4 times with his tweets. I mean, all my journey, I've been under threat, but they have been intense. 2 months ago when he came out with this whole barrage on me, he deals with a crowd that has no problem getting online and on phone calls. We even got letters to the office every time he makes an attack. So I can imagine what they're going through, because I've gone through it this time and last time. I remember one of my colleagues in the Civil Rights Organization said, "Why are you always attacking you, Sharpton, and none of us?" I said, "You can have my share, because it is my commitment, I'll put it this way, that since I started, I've been stabbed and all that, that I put my life on the line. My concern is my family, my grandson, all of that. And people don't understand, when you're dealing with someone as off the chain as him and you're visible, you don't know who thinks they're doing America a favor to harm you, because he has some true believers that drink the Kool-Aid that genuinely think that you don't deserve to live if you go against him. And that's a very dangerous position to be in. Let's go to Ronnie in Philadelphia, WURD. Ronnie?
Hey, Rev. Hey, Rev. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Been in touch. Okay, I've been in touch with you last year regarding the wrongful convictions, and I would like to. This is going to be our 5th year coming up to the convention. I would like to get on one of the criminal justice panels.
Well, you know that you don't do that on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
I'd
Okay,
love to get the information. Well, or you get his number and get it to Fatim, and so he can get it to the committees working on that. So somebody will get to him right away, Dallas. If I book one person on radio, I'm going to have 1,000 people want to get on the panel, and I can't do that. But so get his information, get it to Fatim, so we can get it to the right committee. But thank you for your call, and I'm going to look for you at the convention. Let's go to Lola in Philadelphia, WUR. Let's take a break first. I'll come back and go to Lola. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Breaking news. The issues, the stories affecting you. Now here's the news from News1.com.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what we need to know. J.P. Morgan Chase confirmed in court filings that it closed more than 50 of President Trump's personal and business accounts back in 2021. The mass terminations hit everything from his private banking relationship to accounts for his hotels and housing developments. While the bank's letter simply told him to find a more suitable institution, the president's lawsuit argued the move was a coordinated effort to distance the bank from him following the events of January 6. If you've got travel plans, you might want to check with the airlines or at least check your app. The blizzard hitting the Northeast has already caused a nightmare at the nation's airports. Airlines have canceled over 3,300 flights and reported more than 5,400 delays. In the New York area, JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark are currently the major trouble spots, and the storm intensifies. By the evening, those numbers are expected to climb even higher. And to the south, major U.S. and Canadian airlines have canceled flights and issued travel waivers for areas in Mexico, particularly around Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara, due to the widespread violence and civil unrest following the death of the cartel leader El Mencho. A shelter-in-place advisory is in effect for many, with travelers urged to check their flight status. There is a bit of relief for travelers, however, as the TSA reversed its decision to suspend PreCheck, despite Despite the ongoing government shutdown, faster lanes will remain open for 20 million members. Global entry is still paused, and screeners are working without pay. This reversal aims to prevent a total collapse of airport efficiency. Industry leaders remain concerned, noting that last year's shutdown cost the economy over $6 billion. To subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybylWilkes.com. For all the news 24/7, go to newsone.com. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.
Time is up. The IRS is in full collection mode for 2025, issuing liens, levies, and garnishments to anyone who has a past tax debt or unfiled tax returns. Don't wait till it's too late. Your paycheck and bank accounts are at risk of being seized. Call now and stop the collection process today. If you're living check to check, no matter how much you're making, you still may qualify for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. It's just a 5-minute call to get your options, and it's free. If you owe back taxes, have years of unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or finally just want to sleep better, business or personal, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief while there's still time. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and tough. This veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go at it alone. The call is free. Call their hotline number now, 800-259-4546. That's 800-259-4546. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-259-4546 or go to republictaxrelief.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds. Everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-792-0051. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-792-0051. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-792-0051. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-792-0051. 800-792-0051.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announcing today, I wish Obama had announced here, because Lincoln did not
free us, the abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history.
It's time for a new course, a new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex. A new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't cry about what you don't have, use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop. We got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David. Little David. Took off his unnecessary garments. Little David. Didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David. Took what God gave him, a slingshot and a God biscuit, a rock.
I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Antoine Seawright is our co-host on Mondays as we kick off the week, and we are under almost 2 feet of snow in New York, parts of Staten Island. The mayor just said is 24 inches of snow, which is about 2 feet. Other parts up to I think 1.5 feet. So it is serious and it is historic. But we move on. The snow appears to have stopped, and they've lifted the ban, so at least we can try to dig our cars, vehicles out, and do what is necessary to do coming after a storm. I had where staff could even get into the office because they had banned any vehicles until noon. But let me say, we're on the case. I worked right out of then at my house, at the apartment, and then many of them working, and they just got me to report we are 4,470 people that have already registered for the convention. We're about 6 weeks out. This is about double where we were registered last year, and last year we ended up with a little under 11,000 delegates over the 4 days. Biggest civil rights convention in the United States. And again, this year I purposely didn't announce the high-powered panelists and speakers and candidates because I did not want people to say, oh, they come to Sharpton's because they're looking for the celebrities. Well, we got well over 4,000 now, and I haven't announced anybody. So you that have not registered, register today. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free numbers. The phones we're picking up, they're working out of home. They'll register on the phone at 877 626-4651. All right, let's go to Ronnie in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Ronnie?
Okay, Rev. So I was saying about the wrongful convictions. I want to turn some spotlight on it. This year, especially in New Jersey, we have a new governor, and there's 600 people applied for review, and as I was telling you, only 2 were granted for the whole state of New Jersey. So
yeah, and that's with the outgoing governor. I think you're right, and this is timely that this new governor be given really levels of demands that they deal with this high number of wrongful convictions, and we certainly in fact, I think they may be at the governor may be at the convention, but you need to get us the information even before that, because I think I'm meeting with her in a couple of weeks, so we can put it on the agenda and give all of that to us so we know how to hook you in to what we're doing. All right, thank you for your call. Let's go to let's stay in Philadelphia to Lola, WURD. Lola, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and C-Rack.
Yes, good afternoon, gentlemen, Reverend Al and Mr. C-Wright. We got plummeted also in Philly. We got a lot of snow here too. So I don't think we got as much as New York, but we got a lot too. So I know what you're talking about. So I wanted to say about 2 things really quick, but I wanted to say about Reverend Jesse Jackson, that he rests in power, and that I was, perturbed and upset that the flags weren't lowered for him from our governor, Josh Shapiro, and Governor Wes Moore, and a lot of other governors. I'm not sure if the governor of California did it, Newsom, or Jersey. I know some governors did, but when Charlie Kirk died, the flags all over were lowered, and even the governor of our state, Pennsylvania, said, "Well, I'm lowering them because I don't believe that we should talk across the lines, and what happened to him was wrong." Well, Reverend Jackson gave his life for black rights. He ran for president twice. He's had Rainbow Push Coalition. So I think that man deserved to have the honor of having the flags lowered in his honor. And I'm really upset. I wrote Governor Shapiro about this. A bunch of us did, and said, "Why haven't you lowered the flags for him?" So I wanted to say that. Now, my second thing that I wanted to say was, I don't know if you heard about this, Reverend Al, but at the award show yesterday at the BAFTAs, the N-word was yelled out to. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that, because I wanted to talk about the trauma that we are suffering now. First, the president, or whoever you want to call him, puts out a monkey video. Now they at the awards, and they two acclaimed black actors, Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan. And Delroy Lindo is a British-born actor, so he is actually from London, where the awards are cast. And we were watching it here. This man, they say he has Tourette's, and he yells out the N-word. My thing about this is that when you have Tourette's, and I looked this up, and we had a case before a long time ago. I would discuss it when I ever meet you, Reverend Al. You say you're yelling out what's in the back of your mind, what you're thinking. Why didn't he yell out a gay slur? The host was gay. I'm not saying he should yell out anything, but I'm just saying he didn't yell out a gay slur. He didn't yell out a Jewish slur. He didn't yell out an Asian slur. But when 2 black acclaimed actors get up there, he yells out the N-word, plain as day, and they play it in the United States with a 2-hour time delay. I mean, we are experiencing, and I know my ancestors, and I'm speaking through my ancestors, I know that they went through so much more. But I just want to make sure that our black people, because are speaking to one another, yell this out, shout this out, go see a therapist if you can, get some fresh air, do different stuff to help you, to make you feel happy, because the trauma that we are experiencing, I mean, I was so upset. Every day when I hear the president's voice, I'm upset. But I say, no, we got to stay the path, Reverend Al, because our ancestors went through so much more. I think about what Fannie Lou Hamer went through. So I can't even complain, but I can speak out about what's happening. And what happened yesterday at those BAFTA Awards was disgusting and disturbing. You have that. You have the president showing a monkey video. We have all this stuff coming at us about DEI, 400,000 black women losing jobs, all this black high unemployment rate. They're doing the education. The medical system is at us. Black women are losing our lives just having to carry babies. A friend of mine was in the hospital for 27 days after having a baby because they let her lay there, Reverend Al, and almost lose her life because she was bleeding and turning. And they talking about, well, we don't think you're feeling that much pain. But Reverend Al, she was feeling the pain and almost lost her life. And so we're experiencing all this trauma that's coming at us. So black people, please take care of yourself. But I wanted to touch on that, what that man yelled out. They blamed it on Tourette's. No, that's not Tourette's. That's what you felt. That's what you felt in your That's what you felt in your brain to say that out.
Yeah, no, it came out.
Those black actors.
You're exactly right, Lola. I saw that early this morning. I go through the internet when I come out the gym about 5:30 in the morning. It was unbelievable. Thank you for your call, and I agree that everybody ought to ask their governors about the lowering the flags at half-staff for Reverend Jackson. And they still can, because his funeral is not till next weekend. They're doing the viewings Thursday and Friday, and then taking them South Carolina, his native South Carolina, coming back through Washington, and then back to Chicago for the final viewing and the funeral. So all of that are days that they can decide they can lower the flags at half-mast. That absolutely is something that should occur. And this whole excuse, alibi, whatever you want to call it, that Mike Johnson said that he could not break precedent and have Reverend Jackson lie at stake at the U.S. Capitol. They've already broke precedent 8 times, including for Billy Graham. And I certainly think, and I think millions of Americans think, that Reverend Jackson deserves it as much as the 8 or the 8 that they have broken precedent for. And I think it's a matter of our own self-respect and dignity to stand up for those that stand up for us. Let's take our break, and we'll be right back, and we'll go right back to the phones. See right, Sharpton. Be right back.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-2458. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-2458. That's 800-617-2458. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back?
back. If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DRIVER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DRIVER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code DRIVER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, Antoine Seawright, with us for the whole ride as he graces us with that every Monday. Antoine, before I go back to the phones, on the global level, international level, which President Trump is likely to address in his State of the Union address tomorrow night, what should we be listening for as it pertains to Venezuela? Now, what he's talking about in terms of Iran, because those are active military operations, and this whole thing of Greenland and our standing with NATO.
Well, Reb, I suspect that you will not get much detail from the president, but you'll get lots of rambling, and you're certainly going to get a lot of distractionary words, but no real deeds or action that speaks to any of those scenarios you just laid out. I also think that you will not hear from the president about how he has ended the war in Ukraine on day one, as he promised. But I do think you'll hear a lot about tariffs, and while he is trying to convince a certain segment of the population that they are good for America, they are working, he's also going to make a stronghold case, I think, to the Republican majority, who will make up majority of the audience tomorrow night in the chamber, because there are a number of Democrats who will not be attending the State of the Union. He's going to make the case for them of why they need to do it from a legislative standpoint, particularly after this court has ruled that they are illegal from him doing it.
One of the things I also hope that, and you mentioned a number of Democrats are not going, some are going, holding up signs saying lies. I hope we do not get into a internal fight over how to protest and just make sure we protest. Because I know some of us, why did they go at all? Why didn't they go that we send them inside? Let us keep our eye on the prize in this situation. This is about having our representation and our rights, privileges, goods, and services protected. It's not about which way someone expresses their dissent. As long as they are dissenting, I'm all right with that.
Well, Red, we've got to have a substance over style type environment, not just tomorrow night, but going forward, post-State of the Union, because, Republicans are going to get ultra-aggressive in trying to implement whatever the president pitches at them, and they're going to try to shift the tone in the media and back at home. And so what I've said to a number of congressional members who reached out to me about what they should or should not be doing tomorrow night and beyond, and I remind them that elections are won on Main Street and my street, not on K Street. Nobody cares about the theatrical things that you may or may not do tomorrow night as a result of your protest. But what you do need to be doing is focusing on the voters back at home who actually sent you to Washington, whether that's hosting a virtual town hall, whether that's engaging with creators, whether that's speaking to the needs that specifically meet the concerns of the district you represent, or whether that's, even if you're not going to be there, go back home and do something in your district, because not only do those people send you to Washington or elect you, but those are the people who are going to feel your impact in the Congress. And so I think it's important for our members to focus on engaging with their folks back at home, because that's where the people are, that's where the votes are, and that's where we win elections, in the streets, not on K Street.
Or lose elections. Let's go to Reverend Johnson in Richmond, Virginia. Reverend Johnson.
Praise the Lord. Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton. I greet you this afternoon, my brother. I want to ask you one quick question this afternoon, and then I'm going to jump off. But the question I had for you this afternoon is, in today's climate, what specific action beyond voting do you believe everyday people can take to create a measurable change in their local communities?
I think a good question, and thank you for your call, Reverend. I think aside from voting, they need to have a collective. It could be a chapter of an organization like National Action Network. It could be some collective in each community that consistently meets and develops strategies around what stores they should shop at and not support people that don't support us, which candidates they should hear from, and how they're dealing with social services, including education. One of the things I'm going to focus on at NAN's convention this year is we need strong infrastructure in local communities, because what may be true in Richmond, Virginia, where you are as a priority, may not be the priority in Milwaukee. So we need units in each of these cities, and they can use this radio show and other mechanisms we have to help put that together. I don't care if it's 20 people. One of the things that I learned in this tour that we just did, we're still doing at HBCU campuses, is if you go, people want to do something. They, like you said, Reverend John, they don't know what to do. So a lot of the students say, yeah, I want to be involved, but how do I get involved? And we forming chapters right on the campuses. How do we know to do that? I was a member of the Afro-American Club when I was in high school and in Brooklyn College. And I think that movements that are going to work have got to be locally focused, even though they may have national reputations. This is not about a celebrity at the top. Let the person with the name, whether it be me or whoever, be on top of a thick, real infrastructure that can move. We have 122 chapters, and I'm really strengthening them, making them viable, and we need 130 more. And I hope to come out of the convention with a lot of that. I thank you for that question. We needed to really address that on the air. Let me go to Carl.
Amazing answer.
Thank you. Carl in Florida. Let me try to get Carl in.
How you doing, big brother? Brother,
I'm good. How are you?
I think I'm so thankful to the Creator for being alive. At this time of the year, February, Black History Month, I think many times we lose the essence and the focus of Black History Month, because I'm still finding people don't know who Carter G. Woodson was, what he is, why we even celebrating Black history. Most people really don't know, and they haven't. That kind of miseducation haven't been explained to us across the nation, and we understand that it's a national miseducation because the system of education that we've been rendered, it's all across, regardless to what university or public school or whatever, all of it's connected. And I just think during this time we do ourselves a disservice because we don't really invest in getting people to, not only ourselves but others, to understand the focus and why Carter G. Woodson felt the need to spend his life, and why we've been celebrating and celebrate up until the point where we celebrate now, and we haven't invested in our children's education. I'm really worried, Al, because we're going to start them off with another summer program, another school year, and we still haven't given them the proper guidance that comes from us if we would invest and really be taught and trained on how to assist our children, because it's vital for us. If we don't do it, we already know ain't nobody else going to do it. And it's hard to believe that Carter G did this 100 years ago. And I think we're in our 100 years.
I think what you're saying is so important, and it became even driven home more to me. One of the campuses, Carl and Antoine, I didn't do it the last weekend, but Reverend Rudolph and the team, and my daughter's in the team, Ashley, my younger daughter, and she came back absolutely outraged that these are college students now at a college, a well-established black college in North Carolina. I won't go further than that, but you can surmise. And they met with some of the student leaders after doing the larger session. And she said with 17 students in the room, only 3 of them knew who Martin Luther King was. Said they heard the name, but they really know what he did. I think she said 2 of them heard of Jesse Jackson. Now, some of them heard of me because of television, and that's because it's contemporary. I was dumbfounded. Martin Luther King has a national holiday, and we have students in black universities that don't know this. So we need to really take our teaching and training and spending time with our young people. This is at a college level. So you can imagine what elementary school and secondary school and high school kids are doing, and it is our responsibility to do something about that. We cannot have, if people do not know who they are historically, where their roots are, you grow fruits from roots. You don't grow fruits from the skin on the fruit. And I think that we've got to be more determined about it. I never saw Ashley more upset and couldn't get back to New York fast enough to tell me this. So I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with what you're saying. You know, Antoine, you do a lot of political strategist work. When I go places and quote Adam Clayton Powell, who was probably the most productive chairman of a House committee in the history of Congress, and they don't even know who I'm talking about. And some of the legislation he put through is still in effect and help them. That's a statement on us not doing all we should be doing.
Well, Rep, we certainly have a lot of work to do. And you mentioned Adam Clayton Powell, but I go in places and I do this quick exercise and say, tell me who your lieutenant governor, who the vice president is, and some of the cabinet officials, and folks can't name them. And so that just means education is a part of representation. And we have to do a better job of talking about our history, but also framing the right now, which will shape our destiny.
All right. Well, let me thank Antoine Seawright. Let me thank all of you that was with us today. Live streams, a couple of hundred. Understand? I will be in the office tomorrow, so you can watch it live stream tomorrow. But thank you for being on the screen. Register for NAN's convention, 1-877-626-4651, or go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Whatever you do, keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.